forms.
Yeah, everything's kind of where it was. You know, right hand, left hand didn't change a whole lot. You just colored it and renamed it and stuff like that. And now your back arrow, instead of just being where it usually is, they actually made a button. It's full of buttons now instead of arrows. It's the same old thing. They just made it, for some reason, like they're doing with all the software now, they made it cartoony. It's theoretically easier to see, more pleasing to the eye. You're more rested after you do a transaction. That's
more designed around mobile.
Pardon?
It's more designed around mobile.
Yeah, actually, this is the mobile version that's now been pushed over into the desktop. That's exactly right. You can leave. You know everything. It's awesome.
So if you're set due date, you can set the 17th.
Well, that's a feature. You know, that's a whole other class. Okay. Let me Templates lady want to do that? Yeah. Okay. There is a we talk about that. There's a transaction management component in zip forms, and you can email the SkySlope, and you can store your emails in Folio and all that kind of stuff. You can email to your transactions, you can email from your transactions, you can create a checklist, you can put all the people in there, and you can do everything you need to do out of zip forms. They have a CAR had a thing called Relay years ago, and it was like transaction point, only even clunkier. So a tank, nobody would use it. Transaction point ruled the world there for a while. And then they decided that nobody was happy with transaction management solutions, so enter Dotloop, who wound up getting bought by Zillow and sued by everybody and all that stuff, which paved the way for SkySlope and Recio and some of those other guys. In the meantime, CAR just brought back Relay, renamed it Zip TMS, and stuck it in here somewhere. And that's what that set due date and all that other stuff is. That's part of your Zip TMS component. And that's why some of these other maybe newer looking buttons are up here. That's your checklist button. So you can set up in the template lady will teach you. You can set up a checklist. You can set up a residential template, for instance, residential purchase template, and set up a checklist and put all the dates and all that stuff in there as before and after dates. You can, the checklist can store a date that's 3 days before such and such a time, and it will take from the contract what that date is, and it'll send you an alarm like in 14 days for a 17-day deadline. It's got an incredible amount of functionality. They're going to work on, or they have worked on streamlining the storage. The storage is really clunky. I could never find anything. You got to rename everything or you'll never see it again. So they just created folders. Now you can stick all your emails in a folder, all your fully executed documents in a folder, your disclosures in a folder. You can manage it a lot better than you used to be able to. So that's what's going on with that set date and all that stuff. That's part of the transaction management component. We're just going to teach them to use this.
Yeah, you can use that too. Yeah, I've used it before.
Zip TMS? Yeah. Good. That will help.
I used it when it first came out.
So I noticed a couple of weeks ago, I was supposed to talk to you a little bit about the differences in, where is my coffee? In the purchase agreement, there's a bunch of them. There's like 8 of them. Why do we have them? Why do you use them? If I'm lucky. Not much show that. Okay, I'm not lucky, and I think my zip drive's in the Sequoia, which is in the shop. So I'll just make it. No. I'm looking for my slideshow that came in my train. Yeah. I just closed it. See that? There's a huge freaking PowerPoint. Don't know where the tab is, so I'm just going to ignore it. Back and I'm back. All right, let's just look in here. So the I just look for purchase agreements. All the purchase agreements will show up. Here's the bunch. So the residential purchase agreement, that's one you're gonna use most of the time, right? That's your stock and trade, that's your, hey, it's our first question of the day, first chance to win Starbucks. That's what we found in my coat pocket this morning. And handed it right over to Joanne because she's the Starbucks. Residential purchase agreement, when do we use that? There's a phrase or whatever that's the legal definition of residences for California law and real estate.
Single family dwelling.
Freddie Mac definition, pardon?
Single family dwelling.
Residential 1 to 4 is the RPA. Residential 1 to 4 units. So if you got a fourplex, that's residential. You got a duplex, regular residential, same financing, all that stuff generally applies. Owner occupied helps with financing. So the RPA could be used basically for any of that residential 1 to 4 stuff. I like to use the RIPA, which is probably here somewhere. Here it is right there, Residential Income Property Purchase Agreement. Even if it's just a single family house, if the guy is an investor buyer, and especially if he's doing an exchange, because part of your job when you're representing the buyer and they're doing an exchange is, especially with the 1031 exchange, which I'm just going to tell like everybody knows exactly what that is. I know. You know. Yeah, right. I forgot about it. So a 1031 tax deferred exchange, the rules aren't perfect. There's wiggle room in the rules and the IRS rules for the 1031, and they're all in favor of the IRS, right? So your job, everybody's job in a 1031 tax deferred exchange transaction is build it to stand up to an audit. You can't make a bulletproof exchange. You can try, and there's things you need to do to make that happen. So this is one of them. Whenever you're writing an offer for a guy that's not going to occupy and is in an exchange, I would, and I don't say policy here, but I would recommend using the residential income property purchase agreement. And anybody that's all the attorneys and CAR and stuff, they'll tell you the same thing. It fits, and it's got extra stuff in it because you're not moving in, you're renting it out. So especially if there are tenants in it now, it talks about estoppel certificates. It handles tenant occupied properties better than the RPA. It's just got some extra stuff in it to work with rentals. So it helps build a case for your investor doing an exchange, and fits better when you're doing a rental. And you'll get agents on the other side, which is always, I don't know why we have to have agents on the other side. I don't know why we just go double in everything and just be done with it.
Right?
Right? I know, right? But that's why it pays double. I mean, it should pay triple when you got an agent on the other side. So I'm getting 9%, you're getting 2%. Now I got to do your work. We have to do 3 hours of contract training because you couldn't fill out your RPA. Okay? Or can you just learn? So you guys are coming to hell with me. That's a lot of movies. Anyway, we're going to hell because now you're going to know they're all doing it. So the first thing you're going to hear from the other agents is going, you can't use that form. It's a house. Just don't answer them. Just move on. Like, don't explain it because you can't, because there is no way they'll wrap their head around it. If you're representing an investor client and they're going to rent it out, I don't care what he's buying. You can use that RIPA unless it's vacant land. That'll fit just about anything that has. You could put people in, residents in, use that RIPA for investment.
What would you use for like a 16-unit apartment complex or something like that?
RIPA. Yeah, it's set up to handle. The RIPA is set up for 50 units, RIPA. It's set up to handle multiple units, and it works perfectly.
Is there anything that it caps out at? Any type of structure that's too big or something?
No, as long as it's a residence. Yeah, if you're doing a warehouse, wrong form, right? There's another one for that. What's a Segway, right? What's the name of the other one? Anybody got a guess?
Probably wouldn't have residential.
Commercial property purchase agreement, right? Warehouses, stores, all that stuff. Not a business opportunity. You guys do business opportunities here?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna try.
Yeah. They're
We got one.
They're kind of a lot of work. We used to not do them back in the day because they were now it takes real money to buy a business. It used to be you could buy mom's bookstore for $3,500 lock, stock, and barrel. Well, the commission on that is about a nickel. So it's like, I don't know, I'm getting there. I'm not like working on your transaction, missing calls for like my $1 million reservation stuff. But now it takes $100,000 to get into business. So $300,000 to buy them, $2 million to buy them McDonald's probably. I suppose there's a form for that. With this many forms, you know there is, right? That probably wasn't on camera. Everybody shows up, you're gonna get that. Let's see. So let's see. That's an RPA and RIPA. You know, the notice of default purchase so that I don't forget because well, it's highlighted. I won't forget. I want to do that last. Use it once in a while. We don't use it much now. Not a lot of people are in default. Now I'm doing the second one this year with an NODA and with a notice of default line. The one that gets doesn't get used as much as it should, I think, is the manufactured home purchase agreement. So for manufactured homes, they have their own purchase agreement. They also have another form that you generally use in a transaction that's for manufactured homes only. Does anybody know what that form might be?
Manufactured.
Another one. Okay, sorry. There's more than one form.
You had cams.
Correct. Now I left all my stuff.
Here.
Kevin?
I'm passing to me and drive.
If you drive, that'd be awesome. I like letting Linda drive. You guys know that. I drove Sunday, hit a deer. I'm driving.
But the deer lived.
Deer lived, yeah. You should have seen that, but I'm not going to tell you in front of anybody exactly how that went. But he lived. In fact, I told the people at the showing I hit a deer, and they're like, "You seem calm." I said, happens a lot in the country. A little bit of fur on the license plate. So the manufactured home purchase agreement, there's another form that every time you're in the manufactured, when you're, hey, how you doing? When you're going to use it representing the seller.
Manufacturer listing agreement.
Okay, there's another one, right? There's a form that manufactured home purchase agreement is used every time there's a manufactured home, even if there's like 3 units on there and one of them is a manufactured home, use that. If there's 3 units on there, you're going to list it. One of them is a manufactured home. Use that because you can't list them separate. It's real estate. It's all part of real estate. There's a manufactured home transfer disclosure statement.
Oh.
Right? So you're going to wind up with, I just got an offer this morning on my 40 acres in Wasna that has a 2005, 23, something like that, 100 square foot, triple wide on a permanent foundation on it, and he sent it to me on an RPA. You got to pick your battles, right? I'm not going to correct it unless the lender has a cow about having an RPA, but that's the wrong form. He's going to get a TDS. Actually, no, he's not. I'm off the hook. Bounce around a little bit, I guess. I don't have to do a transfer disclosure statement for my 40 acres out there. There are times when you don't have to do a transfer disclosure statement. Can anybody name one?
Your situation.
My situation. I'll tell you, I'm glad I saw you. I told him I'm going to pick on him a little bit. I know he can take it.
Probate, REO.
Yeah, probate. Yeah. Pardon?
If you haven't lived in it for 3 years?
If you haven't lived in it and you haven't ever owned it, like you're a successor trustee or something like that, yeah, unless you've lived in it, right, for a year. If you haven't lived in it in the last year. And yeah, REO. And also my guy is kind of like an REO. He's a deed in lieu. Deed in lieu enjoys the REO exemption for the TDS. But in a regular sale, you would need a transfer disclosure statement. We'll go through the whole disclosure paragraph on another day. But when you have a manufactured home on the property, you got to do a manufactured home TDS. Now, if you have a manufactured home and a house on the same property, you got to do 2. You got to do a manufactured home TDS, and you got to do the TDS for the other. You have to do the TDS, happens, all that stuff for every unit on the property. No one gets that.
If it has a 433A permit, does
Still a manufactured. It's a manufactured home unless they built it and nailed it to a slab. That's exactly right. Yeah. 433A is the recorded document that says the county knows this is on a permanent foundation. It's been moved out of HCD's jurisdiction and onto the county property tax rolls, but still a manufacturer? Excellent question. Probate purchase agreement is, there's a lot to that. Unfortunately, most of it's pretty self-explanatory, and there's a probate purchase agreement addendum. It's also very helpful. So probate is, you'll see that every once in a while. We saw it a lot like 30 years ago, like a lot, because not everybody was in a trust. Everybody's in a freaking trust now. And they use trust to avoid probate. So probate's not going to happen until you find out somebody was like looking the other way and they wound up having a will and not a trust, and then that's how probate stuff happens. So then you'll be the smartest person in the transaction. How do you know who to talk to, what's going on in your probate? Because there's some stuff you got to find out. The probate purchase agreement has a bunch of check boxes about, and the listing does too, is that you need court confirmation. There's a lot of questions that go with the different kinds of probate you can run into. So how would you find that out?
Ask him.
Ask. You would ask. Who's the best person to ask in probate? I mean, this is what I think.
Person who's sitting at the listing with?
No, always the worst. Because they have no idea. B, they are totally burned out. They have had it with the entire thing. The family hates them now. It's
the attorney.
It's the attorney. Yeah. That's all they have to know when you sit down with them. Who's your attorney? Mind if I call? Because he's going to bill them. You don't want billing you, right? You very well may bill them. And I'm not like Jay Johnson, those guys. They're going to talk to you. They're going to treat it like client service for their client. But that's where you find out what's going on. Now, we used to, because the guy that started me, Byron, used to do all his own research all the time on everything. So the first thing we asked for was the letters of testamentary. And that lines out exactly how that probate is going to go. It says who's the administrator or the executor or what's going on, the powers they have. It'll tell you whether it needs court confirmation and everything. Letters of testamentary tell you everything you need to know. Or ask the attorney instead of doing all that homework. I was just raised to do homework. Speaking of homework, I wanted everybody to go read paragraph 30. Of course, the paragraph numbers change in all these, right? It's like, so paragraph 14 is all the inspections and all that junk in the RPA and the mobile home, manufactured home contracts, like paragraph 17, RIPA. I can't remember where it's at, or the paragraph numbers change. But paragraph 30 in the RPA is where all the definitions are. All the definitions still apply, like what's a day, what's acceptance, all that stuff. They're still contracts. They operate mechanically the same as the RPA. You're going to use the RPA almost exclusively anyway. You're not, really going to run into a lot of use for these other forms. Show that it's manufactured in the RPA, and the first party, and there's the up the top is the business purchase agreement, which is that's a bulk sale and a bunch of stuff happens there. What else have I got there? Probate. That ought to do it, right? Are there any more down below that? Where you just went?
No.
Oh, vacant land. Thank you. So there's a lot of stuff I guess I'm not going to talk about because they've changed the rules now to make the transactions more homogeneous. They're more alike. Like every time you take a listing, and every time you write an offer, you get an agency disclosure signed. You used to only have to do that for residential 1 to 4. Commercial, vacant land, none of that stuff needed that. They're all treated the same. And CAR and ZIP forums have done a pretty good job with if you punch up the vacant land purchase agreement, the stuff you need comes up with it. Your agency, now probably your wire fraud advisory and all that. There's a bunch of forms that are actually just popping up with these purchase agreements, which is awesome.
So we have 4 contracts for residential purchases. We have a residential income, residential purchase, vacant land.
Well, vacant land doesn't have a residence.
Now with vacant land.
Vacant land's commercial.
Vacant land's commercial.
Vacant land, if anybody ever says you do commercial, you ever sell a lot? Yes, I do. Vacant land's commercial because why?
It's not residential.
It's not residential. Yeah, it's either they're one or the other. You're residential or commercial. Then you got business off. That's almost like personal. That's a whole other animal because that's not real estate. There is no real estate with a business. So you're either residential or commercial. No house, commercial. Any kind of a house with more than 2.5 walls standing on that vacant land, you've got a residential transaction. You have to follow the law. You got to follow section 1102, all that stuff. You can't just say you can, and no one knows, so you get away with it. But you're not supposed to say, I'm going to do it on vacant land because the structure has no value. It's still a structure in California regulated by a ton of civil code sections. It's still a house. Like if it's half torn down and stuff, you know what, I'm good. It's like the TDS and the SPQ and everything would say, we'll bulldoze it tomorrow. You know, it's not really a house.
Those are our three, and then our fourth would be our mobile.
Manufactured
Other than
home
that,
purchase
there's
agreement.
no other purchase contracts. So it's like any contracts.
Manufactured.
Other probate.
Probate.
contract.
Probate is going to be, probate's anytime there's probate, could be anything, right? You can wind up with commercial probate. You know, usually those guys have figured it out, they got trusters. But not always. I mean, grandpa bought a building in Lompoc,
Take
and
them
the
on.
kids wound up with it.
They come on, probate, right?
Yep.
We indicated probate.
And it used to happen more in Lompoc than anywhere. All of our probate stuff, when I was watching the files at the other place, were out of Lompoc. Almost all of it. Because everybody else, I didn't really figure they needed the trusts. I don't know what's going on. Little snapshot in time. Pretty fast market, though. I'll tell you, you list some stuff down there, fill your cellar back. Real low inventory, a lot of action, small agent population. I join the other end on that.
Areas that existing subdivision, there's a lot of them have their own contracts.
It's being like a new subdivision where you're selling new units. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Just like when you're doing a probate or a trust or anything, if there's attorneys involved, I mean, I love to you're going to get the straight dope from the attorney. They can't screw it. It's a bad thing if they screw it. So check with the attorney. When you're doing a new construction or selling lots in a new development or something like that, check with them and see what's going on. The DRE, which is going to be the DRE again, probably in about a year, the Department of Real Estate the Commissioner of Real Estate regulates all the subdivisions. And they used to create contracts for that subdivision. They would do the preliminary public report, the final public report, create a contract, and like Berry Gardens was still that way. You had to use the DRE contract, which is basically the RPA with some changes on plain bond. Stupidest thing ever. Guess who pays for that? And it was 14-inch, I think, most of those. It was all legal paper. It was legal stuff. They finally figured out how to record 11-inch paper. That was awesome. We used to have the TVS 11 and the TVS 14. Right before that, we had no TVS. It was great. Composed everything, just practice law up one side down here. Loved it. 2-page contract, 1 page was blank. Make it whatever. That was great. So yeah, check with whoever the listing agent is when you're going to go out and list a tract, because that's the easiest thing to do. My first listing, my first plaque for top listing agent was a $6.8 million subdivision. That was brand spanking freaking new. There was all kinds of people running that deal. All I had to do was be the conduit, get people in. Easy peasy. And it's easier now because the DRE almost always will approve the CAR new construction purchase agreement for new subdivisions. They created the existing subdivision purchase. Is that the one?
Yeah.
There's not another one above. Yeah, okay. I forgot what I was saying. We had a little trouble with the new construction purchase agreement because in the new construction purchase agreement, the house isn't built yet. We're talking about building the house. So you go in there and the house is already, you're buying the model or something, or they've built half the track out and like CCB, anyway, yeah, that stuff's ready to go. So you need a different contract. So the existing the house is already built, but it's new, so it talks about the commissioner's final public report and stuff that you have to do with new construction. Is that all clear, or I'm just talking like I'm on coffee?
So in essence, both of those would still be unlived in homes, just one's built and one's basically spec. Is that
Exactly. One of them you could have frame and stick it out of a slab. Yep. Or you could be all the way down to where you're ready for the, what do they call that right at the end, the pickup work, where you do that walkthrough and take little pieces of blue tape, pretty soon you cover the house in blue tape. Everybody that was in there kicked a wall or broke a light switch or cracked a light fixture.
So we'd be using a new construction purchase agreement for that.
Right, yep.
But they typically have.
Yeah, just check. I mean, that's the easiest thing you do is just ask somebody. It took me 100 years to learn it. Like when I was going to install a printer, I finally learned that I would just like set it up on the desk and call HP and go. I do not want to read the directions or anything. Put this up. In 2 seconds, you're done.
But if we're
The
dealing,
easiest money you're gonna make is sell something out of acrylics. You can do.
Yeah, and that's true.
That's true, CCD too.
but
Yeah,
if
anytime we're doing this new construction, I did Old Mill Run down there, and the cool part is you're gonna get paid twice. Stay in touch. You're selling a fairly new house after a while because they're gonna move. Those people, especially in Trilogy, they only move across the street, and then you go around the block, and then you go on top of the hill, and you go back by there. I really did like that fourth tee better. And then you go, oh, my 57 houses have not moved a mile. That's awesome.
what about, like, there's a project on Newport that the guy is gonna throw a coming soon sign up. And he's gonna start taking contracts and letting people pick their own tile and carpet and stuff. That would still fall under the new construction, because.
That's a new subdivision, not something the guy.
No, it's just a one house remodel, that he built, he took the house and then got plans and approved to build out. Is that considered new construction, and we would go under that?
Would be a flip, Dave? Would be a flip?
It's a
Almost
remodel or
It's a remodel.
yeah, I think it's RPA.
Okay.
Yeah, new construction used to be like when they were building
Well,
Berry
he's only
Gardens. I don't know why I
keeping
keep going back.
He's only keeping one wall, and he built everything else.
Yeah, I've seen 1030 Maple, I think it was 1030 Maples that way, got built and sold, told everybody it's a brand new house. Like, bullshit, that's Joe Derry's dad's house. I spent the night in there about 57 years ago or something like that. All they did was keep part of it, remodel it, and try to pass it off to new construction enforcement.
So that's.
That was an
considered-
old house remodel. I'd say that's just an RPA deal.
Okay. that's
Unless, right? Louder. Or it could be an RIPA. Elizabeth has an investor client for that. She's building an exchange to stand up to an audit. She goes with an RIPA, you can leave. If anybody that would, you get a Starbucks card like that.
And then we will be.
All right, we'll be back in about 2 weeks. We're going to be somewhere else. No, you stay. You stay right. Go to the head of the class. Make no one move. All right. So cool.
So if they keep existing structure in place and they're calling it new construction, we
Bullshit.
can still run with an RPA.
That's the city.
Okay.
Got a brand new house down there. They're going, where? What? No, that's a remodel. Man. That guy came in here and you got credit for school fees for the house that was there. Oh, yeah. And that's what I think. Ask somebody that knows. That's good. I love to set policies, practice law, and all that stuff. But it's okay to ask somebody else just in case. That's what I think. You're gonna kind of ask me that. Probably gonna have an answer. Sometimes that may come up. Okay, cool. So there is one of these condominium conversions right up above. What's over there now? It used to be Loomis's. Now it's the heck is in there now? Right at the end of the village, that old redwood barn building, the fabric quilt lady or something was in there. Right on the hill, right on the point above them, they built 2 sets of apartments, one behind the other. I think the first ones were condos, the second set was apartments.
Talking about the brown ones?
The ones behind the brown ones, I think they're kind of a tan or blue, or depending on what year you go by there, they're kind of a lighter color. Yeah. That was an apartment building. That's a condominium conversion. They did that years ago, but they're selling them. They've been selling them as condos. And those brown ones, like, that's what happens when you live here for a long time. I remember when they built them, it was probably the 70s, because they're still working at Loomis's. And they had their slabs and their walls up, and none of their roofs were on, and it rained like that. The guys were up there for days, like squeegeeing out the insides of all those units. You ever saw one of those units? You're out for a little mold. I'm just saying, they got soaked when they were under. I mean, the studs and everything just soaked when they were under construction. You all now have implied knowledge and a horrible disclosure obligation. Sorry. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right. So let's, good.
Yeah, that's.
And the differences are the RIPA is for an investor client, like Elizabeth knows, go to that in class. MHPA, manufactured home purchase agreement. When there's a manufactured home anywhere in there, just use that.
You wanna
I got
go
it.
through that?
Pardon?
You wanna go through the manufacturing home purchase agreement?
I wasn't gonna. I kind of want to. All right, yeah, if you don't mind. I was actually wanting to do counter offers. Or did an offer, I wanted to do a counter.
Yeah.
So yeah, manufactured home, or what was that? What that is when there's a manufactured home. I got an offer. Did I just tell you? Yeah, right. The turmeric's kicking in. RFP investor MHP probate. When there's probate, do we know there's probate? You'll see the MLS go, this is in a trust, use the probate form. Hey, it can't be both. You got to find out what they're talking about. I ask everybody all the time when they go, hey, you know what, I saw this and it said that. I said, where'd you see that? The MLS? And they go, yeah. I said, that's probably crap. An agent put it in. When we went to broker load 20 years ago, that ruined everything. They always talk about the integrity of the MLS data. Gone, back, no good no more. You used to have to send in a filled out paper to the board office and they put it in. It was put in right every time. They'd stop you and go, which is it, probate or trust? Now you're on your own, so pay attention. And what's one way that we can find out who actually owns? Is it a trust? Could it be probate? What's good? Do I see dead people? When you're going to either list or sell property, what's the, which is a segue into another meeting I hope you had before one. How do you know who owns this stuff? Whether you're representing the buyer or the seller or whatever. How do you know who you're actually buying it from? Who's selling it? No, tax record. Total worst answer ever. What do the tax records tell you?
Who's paying the taxes?
Yeah, there you go. No, I got the Starbucks.
Starbucks.
A lot of times those tax
Cheeky.
records
You've
are
been
fine.
through the entire course 27 times.
Hey, well, I should get one for paying attention.
So what are the tax records? Yeah, it's next please. What do the tax records tell you? When you go to Realist, what's that say? What's that name? There's a name in it. Who's paying the taxes? Could it be their accountant? Could it be the attorney? Yeah. Could it be a dead guy? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Who really owns it now? I don't know without pulling the deed. And to get the right deed from the title company, you want to use the term, I want to see the current vesting deed. I want to see who owned that thing the last time there was a recorded document. And that's not always going to be right, but you can't get any closer than that. Because when you open escrow and they start doing their title work in anticipation of putting title insurance on the property, that's what they're going to do. They're going to go look at the last recorded deed. And then you're going to be able to tell them, hey, Uncle Tim's still on the deed there. He's dead. We can fix that. And we'll find out from the people and attorneys and all that stuff how to fix that.
Now, will title pull that information prior to us opening escrow? I know they have
They will if you ask for it.
first AM.
I always
Yeah.
feel it, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's First AM and Fidelity Passport. You can get the current vesting deed most of the time. Not always, because like Realist, those are third-party aggregator sites. There's a Chaiwala in Bangladesh doing the data entry. Not always going to get it right. A lot of times you'll see no document. So what I've always done is, in fact, a lot of times I do both. I've had really super good luck with less than 5-minute turnaround on subdivision maps, CC&Rs, you name it. I get it from Lisa Drake at Fidelity in San Luis in a heartbeat. centralcoast.customerservice@fnf.com. If you can explain to her what you want, you're going to get it back before you hit send and you read her email, and it's there. And she'll find the current vesting deed or the problem. And she might say, you know what, I don't think that's right. Because she's actually a title searcher. She's the head of their customer service. That's a great place to go.
Ultimately, you need to talk with your escrow officer.
Yeah, I never asked escrow about title because that's totally not their deal. They have to go ask the title guys, go straight to the title. Oh, get a relationship with title. Like get to know Kevin Irott and Marie Allen up there. Get to know Reese Benson. They're lonely. Like the Maytag guy, it's like Reese is back all the way in the back of Fidelity's. I mean, in the back, behind the door. Thank God the poor guy's got a freaking window. Everybody comes in there and like, you're here to see Reese now. No one is. No one ever is. You know how lonesome that job can be? Like doing title all day long. Reese can measure this easement for me. Can you come by? bring a donut? Anybody? Yeah. And those guys, I mean, you're going straight to there's no one else to talk to. When you're talking to Reese Benson or Rhea Allen or Kevin Iron, that's the top of the title chain in our market area. Santa Barbara County, I don't know any of them guys. I probably ought to be better. They got guys like that, get wherever their title plan is.
Stacy Jackson, yeah, that's what she is.
Yeah, so I'll let her cover all
She's
this.
working her way up.
Yeah, she's, that's, work for Byron, like Byron always gave us homework. We had to do scale drawings of the house. You had to go out and measure it and put the floor plan on graph paper. He was an appraiser. He sent us out to appraise. We're just trying, when I quit, I told him, I'm gonna go do stupid real estate. They're making more money than I am because they have more time. I'm sick of drawing scale floor plans. I still have my engineer's rule on my desk for the good old days. Who does that? Anyway, you couldn't take a phone call, and it was all phone calls back then from a prospective buyer or seller without the next call being the customer service. Getting a property profile, which came with the realist cover page kind of thing. They had it back then, only it was on a dot matrix printer, it was all hammered out. And it had the vesting deed. They sent you the vesting deed that was a property profile. It was the cover from the tax bill, the vesting deed, and the assessor's map, because you had to map them up and make sure they got it right and you knew what you were talking about. And that the seller knew where they lived. They don't know. They think they own part of that thing next door. They don't know. Stacy will beat that today. And Kevin Irott's the guy, I think, the county manager at First American. That guy has, because he's local, so he has such an incredible wealth of local knowledge. You ask him a question about something, he's probably been there. Oh, that's next to Bob's place. Yeah, that fence has been off for 20 years. It's a great resource. However, can we move to the counter go down that title? Vesting deed will tell you what's going on, and then you know what to do. Then you know you're going to go impress your seller. You're the only agent that brought an actual trust listing addendum or advisory with your listing agreement. And what's the other form we use every time there's a trust, no matter what? And I mean no matter what.
Trust advisor.
Good. No one?
The form we use?
Yep. Every time there's a trust.
Oh, RCSD.
Yep. That one. Yeah, that's
RCSD.
RCSD, representative capacity signature disclosure. I don't know why they called it disclosure. But that is the thing that keeps you from these contracts every time. Let's see, we're gonna be a listing agent. We got an offer, so we're gonna write a seller counter offer. So we're gonna have a seller counter offer, which I don't know where it is.
Real quick, when you're writing a trust, what name do you put on the RPA? If you're using RCSD,
Yep.
Are we putting the trust as the seller, or are we putting the trustees on the RPA because we got to send it out for DocuSign? And we don't want DocuSign to get all screwed up because they're like, I'm not the trust, I'm the trustee.
Right.
What is the actual proper way of doing that?
The name of the people's names.
The
The
trustee.
reason we're now allowed to do that is the RCSD. We've had the RCSD since something like 2011. And the attorneys were all like, now remember, when you represent the trust, it has to be Fred Smith, trustee of the Fred and Betty Smith Revocable Trust, David so and so on, every single line, every time. And the initials were that long. The RCSD eliminated that. And I went around and around with CAR's attorneys making sure that's right, and then trying to let me use one RCSD for both sides of the transaction. I'm still catching grief
Is
on it.
it worth
They need to change the
arguing
form.
with the attorney on who's correct? Or
You have an
do-
attorney that got this wrong?
I have an attorney that's telling,
Haven't called
seller
me.
1 and 2 need to be in conservatorship of blah, 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 blah. And I said, that's fine.
Not with the
I'm
RCSD.
And he goes, but again, he's the gatekeeper, so unless I do it his way, he's
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
gotta
let
pick
it
which
go.
hill you're gonna die on? Yeah, right. Yep.
Now, is that?
Did you ask him if he's seen the RCSD and what he thinks about it?
I said didn't apply way of, that's why I attached my RCSD, his response back. At the end of the day, it's pick your battles.
Yeah, right.
If I
Which hill you
put
gonna
it
die on?
on the RPA, is that invalidating that contract?
No.
Or no?
If you put it on right. If you put it on the way the RCSD broke it down and made it so we could just use Fred Smith, you have to put it on Fred Smith, conservator of whatever the heck he's conservative of.
Okay.
That's the attorney's right. The RCSD made it where we no longer have to do. That's like my second favorite form of the entire pile. Because that used to be, another word for bitch. Having to write all that stuff out all the time. It used to be a bee.
Okay.
I don't have girls, I have no idea.
Gary, what about public family trust, allow public trustee? Would that be appropriate?
However you.
That would be totally appropriate. And then you could throw away the RCSD.
It's whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. So the RCSD made it where you don't have to do that anymore. You can have a form that says, here's an entity, here are the signers, here are their names, here are their positions, and now all you need is the name. Because I know Ellen used to work at CCRG over there, was in escrow for like 20 years. She goes, you have to put trustee on there to make, and Ellen finally retired, we stopped putting trustee on that name. Because Ellen was reviewing all the listings, and you're going to argue with me till you leave, right? When you leave. She left, we quit doing it. Because CAR said, what are you doing? Don't do that. Thank you. Because it says who's the name, who's signing for the RCSD made that happen. But you're right, you got to pick your battles. Which hill are you going to die on? All these things about launching. And the counteroffer, I might do the counteroffer. Can we punch it up? Oh, have we got one over here in the search? You might have to close that. There's probably a big red X at the top. See the search thing?
Yeah.
So just type in SC and whatever you want. There's one. Cool.
She must have a neighbor. She's been doing it a while.
I think that's the latest one. And there's the full screen icon, the one I really want. I really wanted the full screen icon and any meeting. And any meeting used to have a funny looking cartoon bubble with a bunch of Lego heads in it. And now there's a button that says, have a meeting. It's like, that's a good button. I'm like, I want to have a meeting. Meet me right now. And it says, send this guy an email. You'll be having a meeting. We're going to do that someday too. That's why when I had out of town agents, I'd tell them, just zip consult me. Of course, I have to tell them 50 times. But what you? It's better than collaborating because it's real time. You can hear each other talk. It's awesome. So counteroffer number one. Okay, so what goes up here? I forgot.
This form was generated.
Today's.
Oh no, that's the. This could be the form.
Right in the center, that center button.
Flying
Wait,
airplane. I didn't. I shot him in the
Don't get him in the
chest.
eye.
I have blood. Is it? Ooh, look at that. That's cool. I like it. Keep it because I tend to touch the screen. Yep. The date this form was prepared. What about that one? We reach all the way. The which?
Date the RPA.
Date the RPA or whatever it is you're responding to. You'll see right here under the CAR thing, it says, this is a counter offer to what? Could be the RPA. This could be seller counter offer. Now they have all the check boxes. There's seller counter offer number 3 or something like that, which would be a response to buyer counter offer number 2, whatever the math is. It took me a long time to get used to it. So you want to make sure you got your box checked. So we got an offer. We're going to counter the offer. And that offer I got today, I'm not going to counter it with, please rewrite the thing on the same form, because you guys, or the right form, because you got to pick your battles and all that stuff. If those guys are fine with it, I can deal. And we will use, in fact, on that offer I got on an RPA for my manufactured home listing, we'll be using manufactured home TDS, manufactured home advisory, all that stuff, whether they like. Just like in a deal I just did, we used the San Luis County right to farm, whether they like it or not. They're still mad. So we're going to counter the purchase agreement. So we see, like we talked about the other day in paragraph 1, terms, paragraph 1, paragraph 28 of the RPA, both talk about 1A, paragraphs in the offer that require initials by all parties, but are not initialed by all or excluded from the final agreement. That's important to know right there. If one party initial liquidated damages, the other one didn't, it's out unless I put it in right here. So liquidated damages, and you can put the number in, whatever it is, 21A or something like that. Liquidated damages clause 21 RPA to apply, or is included in this agreement or something like that. It happens with liquidated damages and arbitration. Those are the only ones I can think of in the RPA that are optional, that require initials by all parties. Number 1, where it says terms, that's the recital that makes it where you don't have to rewrite the entire RPA, because basically you have to rewrite the entire RPA when you counter, because you reject the offer you're working on and you write a completely new offer. So the mechanics of that are by rejecting the buyer's offer and then countering with this new offer, we say there that the terms and conditions of the above referenced document, which was their offer, are accepted subject to the following. So we make a new offer out of their offer and our counter offer, and that creates an entire new contract. Yeah, do you have a question for the group? Oh, okay, because we would take a shot at it.
Thanks.
We'd make something up. Which is why when you get a counter offer that says the response time is hereby extended, blah, 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 that's another pick your battles thing. That don't do it, that's dumb and redundant and flies in the face of contract. Mechanics, it's not necessary. So if you forgot to put it in or something, your counter offer creates a new offer, thereby a new expiration date. So that's why I wrote an offer on a property up on the Mesa. I can't remember when. I think it was like the 21st of June or something like that. And then they said, you know what? We like this other house better, maybe. There's more inventory in the summer, so we like this other house better. So we're going to go look at the other house and just ignore those people for a while. So we did. In fact, I told the other agent, I said, hey, we're out for a minute, just so don't bother, don't counter me, don't do anything. So the 5th of July, they go, let's go back and get that other deal. So I told the listing agent, I said, counter me now. So she thinks I have to write a whole new offer. And I was, no, just counter me. Like you were gonna on about the 23rd of June. Counter me now. That creates a whole new offer, a whole new response time, all that stuff. We'll see if we like your counter. If we do, we'll do that deal, which is the combined bunch. So people get a little bit hung up on waking up dead offers. Counter offers do that. Addendums can do it if everybody says, if the buyers come back and they tell the seller, hey, we want back into your deal, we want to try to buy your house like we were going to last month. And the seller says, great, because I really like your offer. Well, then somebody just amend it. Just create an addendum that says the response time for the offer dated so-and-so is hereby extended either to accommodate the date of this acceptance or extended to like tomorrow or something like that. And is hereby accepted by the seller. So you can flesh it out in an addendum if there aren't any terms to counter. If there's anything to counter, then you counter it.
So you can counter an addendum, like if they don't send proper protocol of sending a counter offer to you, they just amend the contract. You have no way of negotiating, so then you just go to other, write addendum 1, and then turn around and do your counter based on that.
Yeah, so if
even though it's not on the same form that you're used to, you can keep moving forward.
yeah. If somebody changes the terms and you don't like them, they made a counter offer, they just muffed it, I think. And that's why when you're going to write an addendum, it's like we should probably talk first because we're going to treat it like we're already in contract. There's no margin for error because you have a contract is the way to treat using an addendum. You have a contract, so you're going to change a little bit of the contract. So when the seller says, I like that deal, make it to where I can take it, then all you need is the addendum. But talk first. Make sure everybody agrees to it so you don't have to counter the addendum, So, hey, send me what you're thinking, only don't sign it or let me have a look at it, and then we'll the agents work together and get the language right and then fix it.
You'll find agents, they'll counter you with an addendum, and then because you don't know that you keep going, that's the wrong form. I can't do anything with this. That's not the case. Yeah, you can keep moving.
So you
even
can
if they're not
counter
on the
and
same-
put I'm countering addendum.
That's very
And the trouble is there's no place on the addendum to say I'm accepting your addendum subject to the attached counter. So that's a really hard thing to get right. So everybody's got to be kind of on the same page there.
So it's
I
best
mean, if
to-
they want to change the terms, I'm not above telling that guy's boss, show that guy how to use a counter all the way. Tell him nicer than that.
So Gary, what you do on the counter then is put your correct date on top. You click the other box and put addendum.
Yeah, except
With the date
except
on
that
that.
they have to sign the addendum.
Right.
And when they sign the addendum, they accepted it because there's no place on the addendum to say we like
So
your
it's a little
addendum. but not
scary
so
of a clause
So
because
it's-
now you have to show intent.
So you really try and touch base with the
And you
agent.
can't write on their addendum. Yeah, school that agent.
But
You
that's
bet
the
you get
wrong
that
way
done.
to do it. You
It
should
is
use
the wrong
a
way.
counter when you're doing the offer and then addend or amend once you have the contract.
Right.
But
So,
don't get
so
caught
the
up-
only reason I would use an amendment or, the only reason I would use an addendum is if there are no terms to counter. But the easiest and best way is counter me with a blank. Then you've just created a new acceptance date. It's like, The terms and conditions of the above referenced document are accepted subject to the following, and even if you want to be redundant, because redundancy can be our friend, put in there. All terms of the aforementioned document are acceptable or are hereby accepted or something.
So instead of using that, you can use the counter.
You can use if you're out of date. That's what happened. Is we have an expired offer. We want a going contract. Counter's the best. It's set up for it. But if everybody is agreed, then you can do it with an addendum. Again, the trouble with the addendum is on the original RPA, there's no box check.
Your names, that's an addendum item. He's just changing the names on the contract and adding more legal names. That's not something that's a negotiation. That just needs to change the contract.
So did your people not have the ability to sign or something or whatever?
No, they signed, it was under like a trust, but he goes, I have 4 sellers. He goes, that's fine, keep everything how it is, and I'm just gonna send you over an addendum with the names on it.
Who said that?
The listing agent.
Listing agent. Okay, so yeah, I'll take a look at that, see what that looks like. You'd probably be fixing that. I bet you he doesn't. You could have 4 sellers, could be 2 couples in a trust, but that's really unusual. You create trust to limit the number of sellers.
It was 4 sellers I got when I got the offer back. It was 4 signatures.
What's a
4
deed
names.
say?
I don't know.
That's the only thing that knows. I got a Starbucks card that says that agent has no idea what he's talking about. That's just because I'm holding
So
the
the moment that we open escrow.
No, I do it now. Pull the deed now. Pull the
Escrow.
deed. Pull the deed
All
as soon
those
as I'm
things are
done
gonna
talking.
come out. Is it in a trust?
Okay, so
Is that a big issue or a
We'll
minor
fix
issue?
it.
It's a minor issue. It gets fixed during escrow.
Yeah. So here's the thing I say about that. It's like, don't have escrow do your job. Do your job. Because I used to go back and forth with learning all the time. Because now the RPA says residential purchase agreement and joint escrow instructions. They shouldn't even be writing escrow instructions. Their legal department makes them flesh out our contract. Their opening instructions can't do anything but reiterate our contract. They really don't need to be making escrow instructions. For a while there, they thought it was cool, and they didn't. You had to ask them for opening instructions. They go, we don't need them. You just wrote them. What do you think? And now they've got 4 or 5 pages to get this stuff going. But escrow is basically a disinterested third party who's a stakeholder. Like if I bet you that agent's wrong, and I give David a hat, and we both put $5 in it, he's escrow. That's all he's doing is holding the hat. So,
Gotcha.
when you leave it to escrow to fix it, who's going to fix it is title, and they'll fix it because they can't guarantee that they can't put title insurance on a bad transfer. So they'll fix it. But if you run out ahead of them a little bit, and do a little bit of work ahead of time, you'll find out those escrow people really started liking you a lot after all, not just for sending them lots of business, but for having your files done when you get them. So they don't have to stop everything, stop everybody, go, we got the wrong seller.
Now, as the buyer's agent, is it our place to overstep the listing agent and tell him what is incorrect and do his job? Or you rely on the listing agent and the information you're getting from him, and then to find out it's not true?
I never rely on anybody for anything but me. I remember Gary Keller saying that at the airport one time, the entire room went, what? He says, hey, all you people that are griping about doing the other agent's job, he goes, duh. That's what you're here for. Job 1 is protect the public. That's what I've always taught. And that's why I'm still going to go upside Patterson's head on that right to farm. The public's getting screwed. I said, don't worry about it. I took care of your disclosure obligation for my buyer. You got to protect the public. You're the guys that are held responsible as licensed realtors. I even use that term myself. Licensed real estate sales people and brokers in California. That's part of your deal is protect the public. You have to take in the 45 hours, can't remember what the 16 hours of consumer protection or something like that, just to renew your license, protect the public. So it's okay to find out the other guy's wrong, and then you got to kind of be a diplomat, an agent, a bartender, and a psychologist, move them into where things work out. Or you might just wind up telling title, I know, I just couldn't get any vote. But I do all the work. In fact, I've had to tell lenders lately, stop updating the listing agent on my file. Knock that off. You're getting in the way of my negotiating my strategy. Though I'm the second guy in 2 deals already to hear that I've got loan approval. Well, you've always got loan approval with conditions, almost always. So I get an email from the lender that includes everybody in the transaction saying, Yahoo, we got loan approval, just a couple things left to do. And I got the listing agent looking for the contingency removal. So I had to tell her, you email that agent and say, you're not talking to her anymore about anything. She's talking to me. So I sent that email yesterday. I got my transaction back. Now I'm running it. That's where I like to sit. I feel like I'm pretty much the best guy to decide what's going to happen with all the components of my transaction. So yeah, I do the other guy's job all the time. Forcing out. And you gotta, do it in a teamwork kind of a way. It's like, like a handoff. There's two parts to a handoff. That's all I got is football analogy. You gotta see that guy probably tomorrow. So you don't want to go around making everybody mad like I do. But yeah, don't be afraid to do it right. I guess that's what I'm saying. Protect the public. Do it right. If you got to school the other guy while you're at it, so be it. But just try to make it painless, or ignore them and work with title on fixing it, and then title will just fix him. I mean, that could be a way to do it too, right? Yeah. So yeah, that don't take anybody's word for anything. Nobody knows it all. I mean, I just got schooled on a ton of form the other day. If it got changed last year, I didn't catch a change. That's embarrassing.
When we first deal in NorCal, I was doing there, and they do the escrow instructions at closing.
Everything's different. Yep.
And so I changed that for
buyer pays, title insurance.
I made sure I got those when we started escrow. And I was like the odd guy out.
Well, what year
Why would
was
you want
it?
to see that when you started?
What year was it?
Oh, we're talking 80s.
Okay, yeah, 80s, we still had escrow instructions. And even in the 80s, I only got another minute or two, right? Even in the 80s, the escrow instructions, all of them said right on them, these are escrow instructions, they do not amend or supersede the contract, every set. So the brokers that would say, let's have escrow drop an amendment, they can't. It says right there on page 1 of the stuff they send you the day you open the escrow, I can't amend your contract. Stop asking me. Do your work, amend your own contracts. Now what I'll do is, because escrow got stuck amending everything for 100 years, I'll ask them for language. They got language, they can wrap a phrase around just about anything you need to do. Hey Kim, I'll write the amendment. What's the language you guys usually use for this? Because it's been vetted. It works for escrow, it works for title. The lenders are used to seeing it. Instead of me composing, which is called practicing law, and I'm not supposed to do much. Escrow is a good place to go for language. So, what do you see countered in the counteroffer more often than not? Price. Yeah, it's like, we don't like your price, we like everything else. That's a nice, easy counteroffer. So let's say they offered $500,000, we're countering with $550. We're listed at $549, we're countering at $550. Welcome to the hot market. So we scroll down a little ways. And we have paragraph 2, expiration, which is just like paragraph 31, I think it is in the RPA, expiration. The seller counteroffer shall be deemed revoked and deposits finished shall be returned. We'll talk about deposits for a split second. I don't know what you guys do here, but they made it where you don't have to take deposits anymore. So if you don't, that's awesome. So I wish they would just take that deposit language out. That's why it says deposits if finished shall be returned. So 2A, unless by 5 p.m. on the 3rd day after the date it is signed in paragraph 4. So the counting date is down here in paragraph 4. None of the dates on top are the start dates for the time periods in the counteroffer. They accept this time period of the counteroffer, this date down here. So that's why I don't ever put a date in there, ever, because I'm usually going to be digitally signing. And when they sign, the date's going to auto pop right there. So that way, because people will do that, they'll put the dates in, and then they'll send the form to be signed. And now you have a date here, so this signature is dated. Then you get the form back 2 days later. You've only got 1 day left before the counter expires. So what I like to do is just leave the dates blank. Tell them, hey, don't forget to write that in. Or if they're doing DocuSign or Digital Link or any of that other stuff,
What?
SkySlope, DigiSign and all that stuff, auto pops a date or no?
Well, you have to put a box in.
Put the box in. Well, yeah, all of you got to put the date box in, just don't put any date.
Yeah.
All right. Questions on the form? So now we're going to do we'll do it next week. We'll do the seller multiple. That was a fun session. So the last thing about this I'll say is, let's go back to paragraph 2 because I think that's where that language is. Yeah, 2A. So it says after the date. Let's see. Yeah, so it says that's what I was looking for. Same with your listing contract, your purchase agreements, and all that stuff. If more than one signature, then the last signature date. So if Sammy signs it today and Susie signs it tomorrow, tomorrow is your date. So, and acceptance is, signature, where is it? Where's the acceptance? Person who sets it on the So it has to come back, has to be received by whoever's name is in this box. Your name always goes in that box, never the name of the company. If that's blank, you'll get those blank from other agents all the time. That means this seller counter offer, if it's signed or countered, that package has to be returned to the seller. The agent cannot accept on the seller's behalf because they left their name out. No one's authorized to accept, so I just put your name there. Make that work. Now you'll find out when that's blank, the agents have no clue that they can't be. That you have to give that straight to the seller. You can't give it back to them. So just give it back to them because they don't know any better anyway. Before the seller gets it back, and that's what I want to end on this because there's sometimes you get caught in this stuff. Before the seller gets it back, the buyer signs it, sends it back to the seller. Before the seller gets it back, the seller can do 2B, withdraw the offer, and you can do that with an email or a phone call, and you follow with WOO form, the withdrawal of offer form. So nobody signed it yet, you haven't got it back. Even if they sign it, the seller hasn't got it back yet. You as a seller's representative can tell the buyer's agent, like, hey, you know what, we're not doing that. We're withdrawing that. Sign that if you want. If you send it back, it's not a deal. Don't send it back. We don't know what we're going to do yet. Give me a minute. We're withdrawing that. That's a dead. I've revoked it now. Revoke that counter offer. You cannot sign it. Or the seller could accept another offer prior to buyer's acceptance of the counter offer. Buyer's acceptance is buyer has signed it and then delivered it to the person named in paragraph 2A. So if you got a counter offer out, and you get another offer, seller can just sign that. I just ignore that counter and sign that offer. If he thinks that's a dream deal, so you don't have to say anything to that guy except let him know. Oh, by the way, we took another offer. That offer of yours is dead.
So do you then have to follow up with a WOO or just telling them that it's dead is sufficient?
You haven't withdrawn your counter. Yeah, you've accepted another offer. You haven't withdrawn the counter. It got revoked by the seller's action at 2C. So no WOO is necessary, which is why it's not mentioned in 2C. So sometimes the forms are helpful. Sometimes you kind of just get it. So anytime prior to acceptance, you can accept seller can accept an offer from somebody else, or they can withdraw. Now, one of the main, and we'll start with this. One of the main reasons you want to withdraw that is you got another offer, and then you got another offer. You're not too sure what you're going to do with these three offers you got now. So you want to do a seller multiple counter offer. You have to withdraw that offer before you can send a multiple counter. You can't have like a multiple counter and that counter out because it defeats the mechanics of the multiple counter. You can wind up selling the property twice. You can protect yourself from it, protect the seller from it by having them not ratify one of the multiples, and we'll go through that whole form next time. But if you have a single counter out and you want to do a multiple, get it back. Okay? Any questions or anything else? All that stuff. Repeat that back.
It takes 15 minutes.
Yeah. Without all the embellishments, it was a 10-minute. Okay, so thanks for coming. We're not going to be here next week because we're going to be in Las Vegas.
Good job, man.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Look, thanks for coming. I love it when people show up. It's really lovely. I'm doing a radio show. Yeah, so, anybody?
Thanks, Gary.
Done it.